Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with us. We really appreciate this. So I do want to just really dive right in. Both of your musical journeys kind of stem from your family. There's a lot about your upbringing in New Orleans. I'm wondering how that influenced both your life and your careers.
Answer that one, Ivan, because
Okay,
I still have to.
George.
I have to think about that.
Okay, well, George being like an uncle or a big brother to me, my uncle Art and George started a band called the Meters a long time ago, and my uncle's brother, Aaron, who's my father, and their other two brothers, it's just music all over the place. And being from New Orleans, which is an amazingly, very, very musical place, very musical city, growing up around all that and seeing all what they were doing, it seemed natural for me to possibly want to do that as well. And I just kind of started soaking up a lot of stuff. And soon I was playing alongside my dad and my uncles. And then, at some point, I would start playing with George every now and again. And, he's like I said, he's like an uncle, a big brother to me. And, it's just been an amazing journey thus far. And obviously growing up here in New Orleans has a lot to do with it.
George, how about you? Do you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I think that music became a very important part after I realized that I was lousy at being a thug. So yeah, it was. I think it was early. As a kid, I remember seeing the social and pleasure clubs in my neighborhood. That they were older guys, and they were every time one of those guys passed away, there would be a second line. So we would hear the brass bands coming down the street playing and playing music and stuff. So I studied classical guitar from the age 8 to about 10 and a half, taking lessons. And so it was. I thought that this is gonna be something I want to do. Meeting like Ivan said, when I met Art Neville, which was years later. I was probably like about 15, maybe going on 16. I played a gig with Art. This guy named Herbert Wing sent me as a sub for him to play a guitar. I was playing guitar at the time, and Art needed a guitar player. And I went and played this gig with RT. I love telling this story because it really did help groom me. But at the gig, RT would play the song and he'd turn to me to play a solo. And I would shake my head at him and say, no. Because I was a rhythm guitar player. I was not a lead guitar player. And so at the end of the night, on our way back to my house, he didn't speak to me at all until we got to my house, and he said, "Man, you the lousiest guitar player I have ever heard."
That's brutal.
And so I kind of realized that maybe I should take more time into playing bass. As a classical guitar player, I learned how to play bass all at the same time. So it was, the bass was a very easy situation to just move over to.
Less strings, right?
Less strings.
Look at you now. It looks like things worked out, and you figured it all out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we're all really excited for you guys to come to the Jazz Festival. It is one of the biggest events in the Rochester area, so it's a huge deal that you guys are coming. Tell us a little bit about the preparation that the two of you go through to get ready for a festival like this.
I get a lot of sleep. I get lots of sleep. Yeah, I'm moving into my 77th year. You know, I rest and look at television. You know, the music is natural, and playing with these young guys. You know, well, I call them young, but
Hey, thank you. I heard that. Really stuck out. I was really happy to hear that.
It's you know, they love the music, the music that we created. You know, more than 60 years ago.
Yeah.
I was starting 60 years ago. The record Rejuvenation, which will we be performing at the festival, is in its 50th year to this year. This year would be the 50th anniversary of that particular recording. So, you know, and those guys, you know, they know the music better than us. You know?
Well, hey, there's probably one guy in our band who definitely will say that he knows it better than everybody, and that, you know, and I learned from him as well. We got a guy named Tony Hall, who's a founding member of our group Dumpster Funk, and like George said, we love that music. I mean, we wouldn't be who we are without you know, that music and all the stuff that George and the other guys in the meters created, that sound. And yeah, we love that music, and we love practicing it, playing it, and we can't wait to play it in Rochester. We're really looking forward to it.
I do want to know what is the most, and I have a feeling it's the relationships that you build, but I'm going to ask the question anyhow. What is the most rewarding part of collaborating with other artists? You've done this in the past throughout your careers. You're going to do it again at the Jazz Festival. Is it these relationships? Is it these bonds that you build with fellow musicians that you know you can just get up and jam out together and it's like you're on the same wavelength?
I would say probably the most rewarding thing is kind of when the unknown happens, like when we're well rehearsed and all that stuff, and we got the songs down and everything's going to go like clockwork, we think. But when something spontaneous happens and the chemistry between us and between myself and George or Leo or any of the other guys, when the chemistry just works in a moment of spontaneity, to me, that is the most rewarding.
Yeah, and also that's seemingly I've seen that in New Orleans more than I've seen in anywhere else. Is that you know, I've seen you know, New Orleans musicians just off the cuff, you know, go places that's unrehearsed and not. You know, it would be in some worlds a train collision, you know, but you know, just seeing it because of the roots of what we do and what we have done. I think that you know, I always say the New Orleans musicians got some big ears. You know, they listen to what's going on around them. I could say some of them. But listen to what's going on around them, and you know, and they you know, they play off of each other very well, very well. I mean, you know, and I've played with a lot of players from other parts of the world that you know, that are as good at doing that as well. But most of them will say, you know, New Orleans was their influence. You know, and so yeah, you know, it's what we do.
I don't want to take up too much of your time today, but I do want to ask about your legacies as musician and your hopes for younger generations of musicians to come. First, are there any up-and-coming artists that either of you listen to with any regularity and you're like, yo, this kid's got it? And then secondly, what do you hope 50, 100 years from now people listening to your albums are thinking?
Well, there's a younger cats in New Orleans, and some of them are getting old. we got Trombone Shorty, who we watched from a young kid, and now Trombone Shorty. He's in his 30s, I'm sure, right?
Yeah,
And,
yeah, late 30s.
and we have a few. There's another kid, a kid right now. You know, Lil River Eckhart is an amazing little piano player that's coming up. And you got other guys like Kyle Roussel, who's plays with the Preservation Hall Jazz Band, an amazing player. And you see a lot of guys coming up that are paying attention. I got a cousin, Cyril's kid, Omari, who's an amazing musician. And yeah, you see a lot of it happening all around you. And the brass bands just keep coming up. You got Trombone Shorty's little nephew or cousin. He's got a band called New Breed Brass Band. And it just keeps happening. It just keeps, you know, the circle just keeps going around and around, you know. And we like to hope that what we're doing is remembered and it just keeps being recycled and guys are, you know, people are coming up behind and keeping it going.
Yeah, because, well, you know, for me, the funny thing is that today I'm almost playing to the same age group audiences that I played to 60 years ago. So, you know, it's like, so you know, it's just the fact that that's still happening and that, you know, I still get asked to play Sissy Strut, you know, things like that. It's like, it's a wonderful feeling to be able to actually see it happening. But like Ivan said, man, this kid River Eckert, oh my God, this kid is amazing. I just recorded on his new record, his upcoming album that he's putting out, and man, this kid he's a wonderful piano player. That has the he has that touch, you know. He got a little Dr. John, a little Professor Longhair, a little Toots Washington. All of that kind of is in there, you know. It's in. You can see, you know, all of those. He picks, you know, he chooses from all of those elements, you know, as he's playing, and then he just does it so well. And he's New Orleans, you know.
Fantastic. Ivan and George, thank you both so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you guys at Jazz Fest. You know, I know that's a couple weeks away at this point, but you know, we'll look forward to that and have a safe trip also.
And feel free, when you're in town, feel free to come by to the studio and play for us if you want. We would be more than happy to welcome you.
I might have to get some of that dinosaur barbecue somewhere around there. Right?
We can make that happen.
Yes,
we can. A couple of phone calls away.
I want some chicken wings.
Dinosaur barbecue, huh? All right. Yeah. I didn't know about that one.
Yeah.
We've got it. Thank you both so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right, guys.